Hey Mixies! Welcome to Mixed Thoughts, a grooming podcast. It's your groomer bestie here, Ciara, coming to chat with you about the ins and outs of grooming and entrepreneurship. We'll dive into a mixture of topics with stories from myself and friends near and far. Let's navigate this journey together. What's up, Mixies? It's your groomer bestie, Ciara, and welcome back to another episode of Mixed Thoughts, the grooming podcast. I am so excited for you guys to join me for another awesome topic that we're going to discuss, whether it has to deal with entrepreneurship, grooming, a mixture of both, anything in that realm we're going to talk about. But something in particular that I'm still kind of new to, I've been doing it since 2019, but I am still, I want to call myself like a novice to it. But I've been getting better. I've been, getting in these streets. So without further ado, let's just tell you the topic. I'm going to be talking about competitive grooming and everything that it entails. Now, I have done research, but like only research that I kind of cared about back in 2019. But I've done a little bit more extensive research as to the ins and outs, what types of competitive grooming there is, because there's several. I knew about 3, but there's more than 3. So we're going to get into that. Also, how you can get into it, your prep work, the just all the ins and outs of competitive grooming. And I just want to tell you about my journey as a competitive groomer. I can't believe I said that. I'm a competitive groomer. I am pretty competitive just in general because I've played sports all my life. I've done many array of sports from anywhere to basketball, softball, soccer, gymnastics, softball. Did I say softball twice? Probably. But regardless, I have a competitive nature, if you will, but also I have very good sportsmanship, right? That's a word. That is a word. Sportsmanship. I have really good sportsmanship. I'm a team player, if you will. But competitive grooming isn't always a team sport. You can have teams in competitive grooming, but for the most part, it's a one person type of situation. So let's give a brief definition about what competitive grooming is, and then I will go into my story of how I started and the competitions that I have entered thus far and continue to compete in. So, competitive dog grooming is various styles and techniques that groomers go into. Pretty much they enter a competition, they register, they pay money to get a dog, whether they rent the dog or they have their own dog, and they put it into a specific technique or creative style of grooming, depending on what competition you're entering in. And there are different divisions when it comes to the advancements of the grooming. So there are beginner, intermediate, and advanced. And I think I am in the intermediate, definitely not in advanced, because baby, those advanced groomers, not a hair out of place, not a sculpted creation, untouched, uncolored, any of that. Like, they are elite. They know what they're doing, and they've been doing this for a long, long time. I've only been doing it, like I said, since 2019. So, yeah. I don't got that much skin in the game, but I am forever learning. You got to be a forever learner in order to do something as daring, I should say, as competitive grooming. Now, here are some competitive dog grooming types. There is specific breed standard grooming, which is like a poodle, a Bichon Frise, a Westie. Well, no, we'll get into that. Bichons, poodles, for the most part. Uh, I was going to say Cocker Spaniels. Do Cocker Spaniels get stripped? No, no, they don't get hand stripped. They don't have they don't have that coarse hair, so I don't think so. No, we'll just stick to the Bichons and the poodles for like breed standard trims, okay? Because I don't want to be on here and just give you all false information. If you know, you know. Also, like I said, it emphasizes breed standards and traditional cuts. So, poodles, Bichons. I'm trying to think of the other ones that are like well known. I want to say Cocker Spaniels. Yeah, we're just going to say Cocker Spaniels in that genre because I'll get into the other ones. Creative grooming. Now, this is the ones that have been like controversial because of color. They're the groomers, the creative groomers, they use a lot of pet safe dyes and then they sculpt anything depending on the theme. They sculpt that into the dog hair to create a masterpiece, a creative masterpiece. And it's so fascinating. When I tell you I go to these grooming expos quite often and I see the competitive creative groomers, I'm amazed, mesmerized. I'm just so like impressed with their quality of work and their creativity. It's just, I couldn't do it. I've tried. I'll talk to you about that when I talk about my journey as a competitive groomer. But I've tried it and I was like, I'm going to stick to what I know and let the professionals in the creative realm handle that because, baby, that ain't my expertise. That's not my judge. That's not my thing. That's not my ministry. So we're going to leave it to them. Okay. Um, the creative grooming allows artistic expression, and groomers transform dogs into living artwork using color sculpting and creative designs. Like I said, the color be on point, the sculpting be on point. Also, they do a lot of clipper work when it comes to like creating designs. I've seen a lot of the creative groomers use poodles. I feel like it's most likely poodles when they do this, but they do like swirls in the dogs. They do create these diamond shapes, these like geometric shapes, and then they put cute little gems on where they have created their like sculpture or their I want to say like geometric artwork, if you will. So fascinating. Like, I feel like I could do it, but I need more patience because I'm a person that just likes to get things done and be like, all right, I did it. I'm done, you know? But no, they have a steady hand, they have a focus, and they have patience. I have patience too, but like I said, like their patience, that ain't my patience. Also, there is scissoring techniques, which is the judges assess the precision and skills of scissoring, and then the attention to detail in the symmetry is highly important when it comes to like the judges judging and critiquing your work. So I could say it depends. Well, okay, so if you are focusing on brief specific grooms, yes, they have to have the the lines are right, they're balanced, no unevenness, no like the clean feet have to be on point, the top knot, the poodle tail, all of that has to be on point. Other facets of other breed standards, they need to be on point. But when it comes to just scissoring, like say for instance, you're in a class or in the competition with groomers who just want to do perfect A-line grooms on a doodle. You could do that, or a giant schnauzer. You can do that. It just has to the the clipper work. I'm sorry, not the clipper work, but the scissor work needs to be immaculate because they will judge the fuck out of you when it comes to that. So that is that's pretty much what they look for: precision, symmetry, and attention to detail. The freestyle grooming is another one that I am in quite often. I was only in one breed specific grooming um, competition, and then the rest have been freestyle grooming. This is unconstrained by breed standards, so you can have any type of dog. You can have mixed breeds, like I just said, doodles. You could do a doodle. I did my Jackson, a Shih Tzu poodle mix. I also did a Bernedoodle, so doodles, Bernese Mountain Dog poodle mix, multi-poos, cavapoos, Cavachons. Like, you can use any type of dog in freestyle competitive grooming. The groomer showcases unique and imaginative design. So if you want to do Asian fusion styles are like the exaggerated legs. They're super like full and fluffy, and then they have these really circular muzzles and like maybe a shaved ear, but the top knot is overly large and rounded. And like, yes, very creative designs, but still creating attention to detail, symmetry, balance, things like that. But you're not constrained when it comes to breed standard or scissoring details of like everything has to be A-lined. So I like the freestyle approach because I don't want to be constrained to certain things. But at the same time, I do want to perfect my skills when it comes to breed standards. Just because I groom, excuse me, just because I groom, pets all the time, like pet parents don't want that, like, oh my gosh, I need a Bichon cut, because I have purebred Bichons and purebred poodles that I groom, but they're like, I don't want it to be like that. I don't want that like profound crest, and I don't want that profound chest. I don't want it to look too sculpted. I just want it to look fluffy. And I'm like, okay, you got it. Because at the end of the day, it's show dog. It's not a show dog, but a show dog. Get it? Maybe it was just me that got that. But if y'all got that, put it in the comments. I got you, girl. But anyway, yeah, so the freestyle grooming is something that like I like to do when it comes to competitive grooming. And then the last one is hand stripping. Now, remember when I was like a Westie and I was like, wait, that's not what the breed specific grooming is. It is breed standard, but they are focusing on hand plucking the coat, and Cairn Terriers, West Highland Terriers, Scottish Terriers, what did I say? Giant Schnauzers, miniature Schnauzers, dogs like that have that coarse, tight hair. They will get hand plucked. Hand stripped, not hand plucked. They're plucking the hair with the hands to remove the dead fur. But this is most common for terrier breeds. So that's why I said Westies would be hand stripping competitive dogs. And I wanted to get into that, but those types of dogs aren't my favorite to groom. I love them, but I won't say they're not my favorite to groom. I'll say I don't get to groom them as often or in their breed standard cut, because I have a Cairn Terrier that I do groom and a miniature dachshund, a wire hair miniature dachshund, and he gets hand stripped, but not to the point where it's something that like his hair doesn't really grow that much. He only has like little tufts of hair that stick out here and there, And that's why he gets hand stripped, just because they want to thin out, just keep his coat looking um, really lustrous, shiny, give it that texture that dachshunds, wired dachshunds, tend to have. But my Karen, Tessa, she doesn't get hand stripped because I've been grooming her with a clipper comb since PetSmart days. I've groomed her. She was my PetSmart OG, and they followed me to my house call, my own business. So yeah, I don't do that with her, and they like her one length all over. So she's just gonna get a guard comb, one guard comb, which is half an inch all over, and then she gets like that Karen face, which is just like a kind of how a Westie looks, but just not as much as like that full showbread Westie or Karen face. It's more in a pet trim. That's the easiest way I can say it. It's in a pet trim. So yeah, that I don't have that much clientele that have those dogs that will allow me to do it in that natural breed standard trim. So I would love to learn, but I would probably have to go somewhere and rent a dog or just get mentored by someone who owns it, or buy a dog. And I'm not buying a Westie, and I'm not buying a Karen. I'm not buying, no. My next dog is going to be a French Bulldog. I want a dog that I don't have to groom anymore. Love Jackson to death. But sometimes when I'm tired, because I've been grooming all day, and then I go home and I see Jackson out in the backyard rolling in dirt after I have just washed him like 3 or 4 days prior. I'm like, you know what? A regular short-haired dog is looking pretty good right now. That's just me, but I digress. But those are all the types of competitions that you could enter if that was something that you were interested in. But I'm just going to tell you about my story of how I started competing and then how many competitions I've done thus far. And I literally just went to Intergroom in April. It is June when I am making this episode right now. So a couple months ago, I groomed Jackson for the last time because he is now 12 or 13. Child, I be forgetting my baby's age because time doesn't exist with me. And 2020 was a blip in the radar, if you get my drift. So I'm gonna say 12 or 13. He's older now, and he was a trooper. He was so good on the table. He let me do the whole groom. I was able to do the whole groom. That was an hour and a half competition, I believe. Or was it a 2 hour competition? I think it was a 2 hour competition because there were bigger dogs than Jackson in there. So yeah, he was doing his last groom because he got tired, and he gets a little ornery when the judges come to do the critiques, and they weren't able to really touch him and evaluate him as properly as any other dog that was well behaved. I'm not saying Jackson was not well behaved, because he was, but he was growling at them, and he doesn't really like strangers around him. So I was like, yeah, it's fine. Critique what you can, and then we'll go on from there. But I want to tell you, my very first competition was a full circle moment, because my very first one was at Intergroom, and that is in Secaucus, New Jersey. I'm from New Jersey, and I think Why did I want to do it? Um, I know I was not in I know I wasn't at PetSmart anymore. Oh, I could tell you why. My mentor and salon manager at the time, she was entering grooming competitions and she even used Jackson as one of her competition dogs. And she used him for quite some time. I was like, Jackson, how you in a competition before me? But yeah, it was very, very interesting. And my first competition that I saw was with my mentor. So I was watching her groom Jackson and seeing how like serious everyone was, but it was really fun to see. And like I was like, ooh, I kind of want to be in that. I kind of want to do that, and see how it feels to be like get a rush of like the excitement, the anticipation, the like time constraints and things like that. Like I said, I've been in sports like all my life, so I am used to like um time of the essence and like your back's up against the wall. You have 30 seconds left until, the game is over and all that other stuff. So like that gets me pumped, gets me going. So I was watching her and I was just like, I kind of want to try. And I'm sure she's encouraged me before I left PetSmart to like compete because that was just really entertaining to see and so impressive to watch everybody in their own skill set get things, done in a certain time frame. Some didn't finish when the time allotted, and that just showed them like, oh, you got to do better next year or the next time you compete, because there's so many grooming competitions all across the country, even probably across the world, because dog grooming and competing is like a global thing. There's dogs all over the world. So yes, I'm so sure that there's so many grooming competitions that people can enter any type of time in within a year span. So I mean, did I compete in two competitions in one year? I think I did. It's in my notes, so we'll talk about it. But yeah, so long story short, I was like, I'm going to enter. So I didn't know how to enter. I just was like, let me look it up. Let me figure it out. And so I feel like I went to like Intergroom's website or something like that. And they have all different tabs of like registration, the trade show, the attendees at the like who's going to be at the trade show, and then contestant like instructions and all those things. So I went into the registration of the competition, like the contest registration. And basically, you pay a fee, depends on, I guess, the entry level that you're going to compete in or the competition that you're going to enter. And you pay the fee, and it depends on if you have a dog or not. If you already have a dog, then you let them know what kind of dog breed it is, their name. I think they ask you for their age. No, I don't think they do. They just ask for the breed and the name. And then you you submit it, and most times they'll let you know you have entered the register. I mean, you have registered to enter into the competition, and then they tell you all the instructions of what you're supposed to do, where you're supposed to go, the criteria that they're looking for. Most competitions, they require the dog to have 6 weeks worth of coat. So they want you to have a lot of coat to do a whole transformation on the dog, because that just makes sense. Because if you groomed your dog a month ago, not much hair is going to be on your dog unless you're going to do a whole shave like a 10 all over, not a 10 all over, but like a 10 blade on the body, and then you try to figure out how to do something with the legs and the face if you're going to do like a freestyle, because if you're going to do a breed specific one, then you need a lot of hair to do a before and after transformation. So yeah, my first one was at Intergroom, and I was in the Rising Star competition, which was just freestyle, like salon freestyle, which you could bring like I said, you can bring any type of dog, any type of breed to compete with, and they just want to see a full transformation. Now, this particular entry that I was in, I didn't know that there was a subcategory in the competition. So, like I said, I was in salon freestyle, beginner. I'm sure it was beginner, but they asked me, "Is this your first time competing?" And I was just like, "Yeah." And so they were like, "Okay," and they put a sticker on my um, what is it? It was my little it's not a slip, but it's more like a banner to let you know that like this is your table, like you have to put it on the table, and it gives you like your name and I guess your entry number, so they know who's competing for the most part. Just gives you your entry. You get an entry packet when you go to the competition and you like check in. You have to check in. I did a whole thing where I brought my mini school bus, because I had the mini school bus at the time. I brought that with Jackson, and I told y'all in the last episode what happened, but my bus broke down. I had to get a tow truck to take my bus off of the turnpike. I had to get an Uber with Jackson, and we had to get to um, the expo center so we could find out what we need to do in order to wash our dogs before competing. And there's time slots that have to be, set in place because there's so many dogs that need to be washed and prepped. Um, I wasn't going to do that, but you know, my bus broke down on me, so I had no choice because I was going to take the bus and wash Jackson in there, so I wouldn't have to, you know, sign up for a time slot to wash Jackson. Child, it was a whole thing. It was a whole mess. But, at the end of the day, it was definitely a learning lesson because they let you know there's volunteer mobile grooming vans that have, like, they come there and they help with the groomers to get groomed or get their dogs groomed, and they just facilitate the vans for you. So, which is very nice and convenient. And I think that's what I like about the grooming community is we're very helpful when it comes down to like things like that. We are very helpful if we choose to be, and most of us are very helpful in that regard. But yeah, I had to do a check-in. I had to figure out how to get Jackson situated and get him a slot to be bathed and all the things. But the day of, we went to check in, got our packet, had like I said, it had my name with like where I was when and where I was competing, and then I put that on my table, and like I said, they asked me if I was it was my first time, and I said yes. So they put a sticker on my little name tag thing on the table, and this one, the Rising Star competition slash salon freestyle, they have the judges who also act as mentors to help you and guide you through the groom. So like you can ask one of the judges to come over and like ask them to critique or like give you, like, they're not going to tell you what to do, but you can ask for feedback, and they can help you out here and there to perfect your groom, which I thought was pretty cool because they also want you to realize what they're looking for, because every judge is different. I'll get into that in a little bit as well, but like every judge is different when it comes to critiquing. So like I thought that was cool, that, and I had no idea that they did this, but I thought that was really cool. Unless they did have it on the website as like the contest description, but child, that was 2019 and I don't remember any of that. So we're just going to say they did have it on the website, but I thought it was pretty cool that they allowed the judges to also be mentors and pretty much guide you through the groom while you're competing. So did that, and I competed with a young girl. She must have been like 12 or 13 years old. And I think she had a Karen Terrier mix that she was grooming. And she did really well for, her first time and competing and things like that in front of a large crowd. I think she did amazing. So they judged everybody and critiqued them, obviously, and then they said, "Hey, for the groomers whose first time it is, please stand up." And I think it was like four of us that stood up, and they announced my name and the young girl's name as the finalists. I said, "Wait a minute. I'm a finalist? Like, that is crazy." I was like, yo. But my grooms was really on point. Like, I did that. Like, I'm not even gonna hold you. I'm not gonna sit here and just say, yeah, that was a bomb ass groom because I'm talking to y'all. No, it was a bomb ass groom because I did that and I perfected my craft and I was like passionate about it and I wanted to make sure that Jackson looked tip top shape. I practiced and practiced and practiced. Like, I did a lot of practicing on other dogs and try to figure out how I wanted to groom him and what kind of haircut I wanted to give him. And it was a regular, like, kind of like teddy bear look, Asian fusion look, if you will. So, like, his body was really short and tight, and then his legs were nicely columned and flared out. And I think I took his ears short and gave him like a nice, cute teddy bear face. So the judges loved it. It was me and the younger girl. And then we were the finalists, and then they were going to announce who won the Rising Star. And guess who won? Yeah, girl. Ding, 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 ding. It was me. It was me. I won the competition. I was like, yo, I cannot believe I did this. I was so proud of myself. And that just lit a fire under me to be like, I want to do some more. And so I did. But 2020 hit, and everybody knows what happened in 2020. But some of you may have not known that I got an opportunity. I was contacted by a TV production manager through my DMs. They checked my DMs, y'all, and they sent me a message asking me first. They asked me, now, do y'all, I don't know if any of y'all know, maybe you do, let me know in the comments if you do, but Pooch Perfect. Remember Gabriel? I say his name wrong all the time. But Gabriel, the creative groomer extraordinaire, the spicy Spanish sensation, Gabriel, him, Blake Hernandez, my fellow Roxy, counterpart. Who else? Jane Jane was on there, Jersey native. Uh, Alyssa Kasiba. I say her name wrong all the time, so I'm not gonna be saying everybody's last names. But your top groomers that y'all know and love, yeah, they were on Pooch Perfect. Before they were on Pooch Perfect, they asked me to be on Pooch Perfect, and other people. I'm sure, of course, they asked other people to be on Pooch Perfect, but we weren't the elite because it was going to be me and my ex business partner. She was going to be my assistant. I was going to be the main groomer, and we was going to be on Pooch Perfect, y'all. But that ended up not working out. And then I got another message in my DMs asking me if I wanted to attend uh, another grooming competition show. And that one was called Hot Dog. And that was produced and created by Jess Rona. So I was like, heck yeah, I want to try that. Like, who want the opportunity to show their skill set and like broaden their reach for their business and their brand? Like, if you're on TV, on national television, you can be exposed to so many other different people, so many different opportunities, so many different brands probably reaching out to you and all the things. I said, yes, sign me up. So I did all this like extra back end, you know, background checks, and we had to do phone interviews, video interviews. We did a video audition tape. Did a whole bunch of stuff. Like had to send pictures, had to create videos about like my business, and like I showed the bus, and it was a whole thing. Like did a whole thing. They liked everything that we did, and well, like everything I did, because it ended up just being me going to California during a pandemic, during the damn panorama, and they flew me out. I got flued out, y'all. I've always wanted to be flued out. And I got flued out by a brand. HBO Max, by the way. Got flued out by HBO Max. What? Like, talk about elite status. I feel so privileged. But yeah, got flown out to California. And I wish, like, I did go back to California like years later, but I wish like that opportunity happened when there wasn't a pandemic, but everything happens for a reason. Because when I went there, it was like a desolate land. Like I was there, could only stay in my hotel room. I could only go out when I needed to get something to eat. There was nobody outside. There was no one to associate with except for the people that, I was competing with or doing the show with. But we even with that, like we had to be in our own dressing rooms, but like um one of the producers was really nice and allowed us, because it was only three of us, like three contestants per TV show, per episode, and one of the producers allowed us to like be in the same room as one another, so we could just like socialize and chat and things like that, and talk about like how we did and what we did. But that, y'all, that was so like that was like a game changer for me. That was so life altering and just a memory that I will cherish forever in my grooming career, because like I was on TV. I did a little premiere party when it launched and things like that. I was so excited and proud of myself. It was just so fun. But yeah, so I went to California, was on Hot Dog, competed. I was on episode 5 of that show. I don't think it's on TV anymore, but look it up. Like Type in hot dog, HAUTE, dog, and I'm episode 5, Where the Wild Things Bark. I was competing with the elite. When I tell you the elite of creative groomers, guess who they made me compete with? Anais Hayden. Hey girl, if you're watching, what's up? Love you, girl. You the best. And Angela Kumpi. Like, what? These are top-notch, well-known, like decorated in accomplishment groomers. Anais was in freaking Guinness Book of World Record, y'all. Did you hear me? Guinness Book of World Records. And Angela is just on all groomer to groomer freaking covers of winning many creative grooms, many accolades. Like, she's just champs of all champs when it comes to creative grooming. And I'm sitting here, little old me, little old CC, just sitting here, chugging along, running her mobile grooming business at the time, just trying to make ends meet, just trying to make some money, just pay my bills, pay my rent. And I am able to be up against these two powerhouse of women. I said, wait a minute, y'all. Like, wait, what is going on? What is this? Is this real life? And it was, because guess what? Not only did I get to meet some awesome celebrities, I got to compete and show my skill set, and I won the first round. Now, I'm going to give y'all some exclusive content, not here. Y'all gonna have to go to my other platform. I believe I'm going to be on MemberSpace. I still haven't figured out if I'm going to be on MemberSpace or Patreon. It might be on MemberSpace. I will let y'all know in the show notes, in the description box below, or if you're listening to this, it's going to be in the show notes. But if you want to hear that story of how I thought that competition went, you're going to have to stay tuned for the exclusive content, because I'm going to just say this. I wish they would have constructed that a little differently, because it didn't seem fair to me in the end. The end result was I didn't win the whole competition. I did win, however, the first round, but I didn't win the whole competition. I'm just going to leave it at that. And if you want to know more, like I said, I'm going to create another episode about that, but it's going to be exclusive content. So y'all get that tea when I make it. But I was just so proud of myself that I set the tone for myself in my grooming career, that I could do something like that and be. And then that also gave me the courage to raise my prices. Because y'all, my clients were like, my groomer was on TV. I have a celebrity groomer. I said, well, who's the celebrity? Because I ain't groomed Meg Thee Stallion's dogs. I love Meg Thee Stallion's Frenchies, by the way. Like, Meg, if you are watching this, which you're probably not, but if you're watching this, girl, call me. I love your Frenchies. They are adorable. I can't. And tell me who your breeder is, girl, because I want one. Okay? Just so you know. But anyway, yeah, like that was a pivotal moment in my career to show that I have some value to bring to the table. And I was just so proud of myself with that. So I won my first grooming competition in Secaucus at Intergroom, and then the pandemic hit, and I was able to be flew out to California to compete with elite, top-notch groomers. Won the first round and won the whole thing, but got the experience, got the connections, got the networking capabilities, and now I was like, I'm on a roll, you know? But, still continuing into the pandemic, I had a lot of firsts. So my first competition, That was awesome. My first TV show competition, person only, as of right now. Wink, wink. Um, we started doing Zoom competitions, y'all. Do y'all remember that? Maybe some of you are. Maybe some of you do. But if you do, put that in the comments down below that you remember Zoom competitions during the pandemic, because that was wild and kind of cool and interesting. So I did a Zoom freestyle with my ex business partner's dog. She was an Aussie Doodle. Was she a mini Aussie Doodle? She was an Aussie Doodle, right? And I turned her from an Aussie Doodle into a poodle. I wanted to do like a continental style groom, but that obviously didn't happen. But I gave her like the arm tassels. She got like her back end kind of sculpted into that type of form of a poodle standard cut. And then I gave her a top knot. And did I give her? No, she doesn't have a poodle tail. She had a nub because she's part Australian Shepherd. So I just like rounded her tail into a cute little ball. So did that, and in order to do that, you just sign up online, and you have to hop on Zoom. You have to have your camera on, and you have to have your camera like propped in front so they can see you. They can see what you're doing. Yo, that was different. That was hella different, but really cool to experience because I can say, hey, I didn't stop competing because a pandemic happened and no one could like go to competitions, no one could go to trade shows or anything like that. But yeah, that was very interesting. Didn't win that. That was okay. It was a good learning experience, you know? And then after I did that, I had another first. We are having many firsts, y'all. I didn't know this was a thing. I didn't know there were model dog competitions. And you may be asking me if you're not aware of this. And if you're aware of this, please let me know in the comments that you're aware of this because I want to know who knows these things. I want to get your mind going and be like, I know about that. I know about that. I need to know. And then maybe this will pique your interest in doing one of these many competitions. Model dog competitions are fake dogs that have obviously fake fur, but they have it in like amount of fur that you can take and turn into like make a continental trim on a poodle. Um, they have levels of uh, hair fur for the dog. So it can be a lot, it can be a large amount of hair, it could be a medium amount of hair, it could be just enough so you could do like a pet trim or whatever the case may be. But my friend that was another ambassador of Foxy Roxy, Emily Shannon, shout out to you, girl. Hey, girl. Just your her Instagram name is so long. I will put it down here or somewhere, maybe in the notes of her Instagram handle. But she put me on the model dogs and the model dog competitions because she at the time did not have a dog to compete with, and she wanted to perfect her grooms and she wanted to practice a lot. So you know what she did? And I love this. I love the resilience and I love the creativity of people. And when in doubt, figure it out. I love that about people. She figured out how to perfect her grooms by purchasing model dogs. I didn't know you could do that. I didn't know that was a thing or that existed. But I was able to, I won a giveaway and she gifted me because I won the competition. I mean, the giveaway. She gifted me one of the model dogs. So I got to practicing on it, and child, it was crazy because I was brushing it and like all this hair came out, but it's like you had to, it was kind of like packed in. So you have to fluff it out to like create like full fur, if you will. I feel like that makes sense. But just go with me on this. So yeah, was on Zoom again competing, and this was very like this one for me was a little difficult because I had to figure out how to keep the dog, the model dog, on the table, or at least 2 feet on the table, 2 feet on the table when grooming because it's it's supposed to be a live dog. It's like it plays as it's a live dog, but it's a model dog. So the dog is like, but this big. Like I want to say it's like this big, and you can't just pick it up because it's a fake dog. You have to treat it like it's a live dog. And this was so difficult for me to do, y'all, because I'm sitting here like, how the hell do I make this work? But now it was funny because the legs bend all the way up, the legs bend all the way back, front and back. And you have to like attach the nose on the face. You have to attach the tail on there. You got to put the tail on. It's a whole thing. It's kind of like a jacket because the model dog is plastic and has no fur, but you get it with a bag of the dog hair, and it's like a jacket, like a coat, like I said. So you have to put the fur on the model dog by like sliding on like pajamas. It's different. Very different. Different and cool at the same time. But yeah, that was something very interesting. I made sure that it got a little top knot with like a bow. And I think I did another Asian fusion type of style. Like that's my thing. I like fluffy dogs to groom. So that was what I intended on doing. Did not win that one, but it was another learning experience that I felt excited about and wanted to keep going and wanted to do more. So the next one was Hershey Groom Expo, and that was in 2021. Like we got out of the pandemic, and then I mean we were still in it, but like we were able to go outside and go back to um, go to trade shows and groom expos and things like that. So I thought that was pretty cool. And I was able to use one of my clients' dogs, a mini Bernedoodle. And I was so proud of myself because now this was a larger dog than Jackson. Now remember, like me starting off, actually, the Aussie Doodle was medium sized too. But I did a poodle trim on her. With the Bernedoodle, the mini Bernedoodle, I did just, you know, a salon freestyle. And I just did like a teddy bear look. I gave him column legs, took his body pretty even, and then gave him a teddy bear face. And he had like a nice long, kind of like golden retriever type of tail. So I kind of just flagged his tail and let him let him shine. Did compete, but didn't win that one. But that was okay because again, the judges, they allow you to do it to your best ability, but when you're done, you are allowed to be critiqued. Like if you want to be. Now they're not going to just go from table to table and be like, "Oh, you did this wrong. You suck at that." No, if you want to be critiqued and get constructive criticism so you can perfect it for next time, you go to the judges and they will let you know what you could have done better on. So I like that aspect of the judging because I want to get better and better over time, because the more I get better and learn, maybe I could win another competition because I only won one, y'all. Okay. 1.5, because like I said, hot dog, I won the first round. But yeah. Um, that was fun. And then Super Zoo came around. And this was my first time going to Super Zoo because I always went to Intergroom and I always went to Hershey because they are local. They are close to me. But Super Zoo is in Vegas. And that's nowhere near me. That's across the country. So this is where this is another first. This is the first time that I rented a dog online. And this is the first time that I did um, a breed specific trim. Got a Bichon. I rented a Bichon from a woman. I'll talk to y'all about that in a second on how you can get dogs and things like that. But yeah, rented the dog, messaged the woman who was allowing me to groom her dog. And I was like, yo, this is crazy. Like, people really make money off of just like renting dogs out so they can compete in competitions or do like dog shows and things like that. I'm like, that is the bag. Like, y'all getting a bag for that. And that's smart. It's a very savvy business venture to do. But yeah, that was the first time I groomed a purebred Bichon, and his coat was a little rough for me because I didn't prep him like by washing him and drying him. He already came prepped for me. So I just had to work with what I got. But I was proud of myself because I saw what I could have done better with. And then obviously I got my critiques from the judges after I was done. But they pretty much reconfirmed what I already thought about what I could have done better with. And I would definitely do it again. Like, I want to do another purebred Bichon trim, but like renting it was so interesting. Like, I never knew that was a thing until I competed. But yeah, those were my competitions that I entered. Obviously, I entered again. Like, I actually haven't groomed. I actually haven't competed until now. But since then, it's been 2 years. Yeah, I skipped 1 year and then, yeah, I got back into it. But I love it. I want to do more. I kind of wanted to do 3 competitions this year. Intergroom being one, Super Zoo being the second, and I was gonna do another Bichon trim at not Intergroom, at Super Zoo, and then Hershey do whatever. I'm gonna figure out who I wanna use. I might use my client's dog again, the mini Bernedoodle, but I won't be able to do Super Zoo because I have a wedding to go to around that time, and it's just gonna conflict. It's gonna be too much. So next year, definitely gonna go back to Super Zoo and compete because that was so fun to do. I loved Super Zoo, and I didn't get to see the whole like venue because Super Zoo is exactly that, super. There's so many things, so many vendors, so many just like activations and new things to look at and things that aren't even pertaining to dog grooming. Like, there's exotic animals, there's fish, there's reptiles, there's a whole bunch of stuff. I was just like amazed and mesmerized. So, whoo, yeah, this deserves to be like a 3-day event for sure. No wonder why people like, stay here so long and enjoy it because it's just amazing. But anyway, let's talk about how to get into competitions. Now, basically, groomers just need to network. Like, you need to know people who know grooming competitions, and then you're able to get in. How I was able to rent the dog was I hopped on the Facebook groups. There is dog contest network, Facebook groups. There is the one that I love, and this is how I was able to get the Bichon to be rented. Shout out to Tristan. May he rest in paradise. We miss you, bro. I reached out to my fellow Black groomers in the Black Groomers Association Facebook group and asked, hey, I want to compete in Super Zoo, trying to look for a dog. Can someone guide me in the right direction? And Tristan sent me a DM, and then I got other, inquiries from other groomers, which was very helpful. But he sent me directly to this lady, and he was like, this is what you need to do. You go and talk to her, and she'll tell you how much it costs, and then she will make sure that you go, like everything will be prepped, and she will meet you at the show. I didn't have to like bring the dog with me on the plane because I was scared. I was like, I don't know how to do any of that. I don't know if I have to get like another like a plane ticket for the dog. I don't know. I have to like supply things for the dog. Like I was freaking out. I'm not gonna hold you. But some people do that. But I had the opportunity not to have to do that. Like I was lucky. So yeah, I was able to talk to fellow groomers through Facebook groups. So connect with other groomers. Make like some people don't like Facebook, but y'all, Facebook is still good for networking. Okay. I'm just saying that. So get into these Facebook groups because they can be super duper uber helpful. You can also just go to grooming events like seminars, excuse me, grooming expos. You can do webinars like people um, do, they will do webinars or seminars, and then they will be like, yeah, I'm competing in such and such expo, or I'm going to this show and I'm competing, so this is how you do it. Like they will give you the information, and you will be able to um, register and make your way over there. Like I said, socialize, attend gatherings, workshops, seminars. These provide opportunities to meet fellow groomers, exchange ideas, and build relationships. The trade shows and the exhibitions, you can explore vendor booths, watch demonstrations, discuss products, and then you can network with industry professionals, judges, elites. Connection is key. Like you want to network so you know more. You don't know what you don't know. So start asking and start knowing. Other competitions. The people that you're competing with, they probably aren't just going to that one competition. Ask around. Just be like, hey, are you competing somewhere else? Yeah? Where are you competing at? Can you tell me how I can register? Can you tell me how I can get a dog? Can you ask the questions? Closed mouths don't get fed, y'all. So ask the questions because there are interactions backstage. They share tips and encouragement, and they also observe each other's work and learn from their different styles. We don't gatekeep around here, okay? Back in the day, maybe back in the 90s, like people were gatekeeping and they want to hold their gifts to themselves, but like now there's so many freaking dogs out here that like not everyone's like not one person's going to groom everybody's dog. Like that's just not feasible. That just doesn't make sense. So why not help out your fellow groomer? Because I'm not going to one up you, you're not going to one up me. Our own competition, our only competition is ourselves. Remember that. Okay? Yes, you want to compete, and that person may be like better than you because maybe they spent more time perfecting their craft. Maybe they've been grooming for longer than you have. Maybe they've been competing for longer than you have. Maybe they have mentors that guide them almost every day. You don't know their story. All you got to do is do what's best for you and do your best, period. Okay? Um, but yeah, online communities, like I said, join groomer forums, Facebook groups, Instagram communities. If you have that opportunity to create a broadcast channel for your page, get into your community, get into your people, and start talking and start giving out helpful tips and tricks and exclusives and things like that. Like, be a helping hand to your community, not just asking community to help you out, but you can help your community out as well. And it doesn't hurt to ask, you know? These platforms allow them to connect virtually, ask questions, and to share insight, like I just said. So once you figure out how to get into competitions, you got to do the prep work. That is like, you got to practice. Practice makes perfect, you know? You have to make sure that you invest time and effort in order to excel in these events. And how you prepare is skill refinement, research, practice, creativity, styling tools, health and safety, and presentation. So I will break that down each category. Let's start with the skill refinement. They hone in their grooming skills and they include intricate patterns, color, application, and styling technique. So you want to just make sure that whatever competition that you're entering in, say for instance, it's creative, you want to make sure that that pet dye is vibrant and can stay on that dog's coat for a long period of time and it won't fade after you have just applied it. Because there is nothing worse than you doing all that work, put that color in, so you go to the competition and it's faded and it looks dull. It looks like pastels instead of bright neon colors. Oh, baby, that's embarrassing. Don't nobody want to do that. Don't nobody want to do that. So you want to make sure you hone in on your skill set and just tune it up just right so it's perfect for competition. The research. Study past winners, trends, and innovative designs to stay current and up to date. Because this industry is forever changing. There's new trends, there's new tools, there's new techniques and things like that. So you want to keep up with the times and the trends and do your research. Make sure you know what you're doing and know what you're talking about, okay? That's super duper important. Practice. Regular practice on different breeds helps them perfect their craft. So you want to make sure that you are going to create the perfect crest on a Bichon or the perfect crest on a poodle. Start practicing on your clients' dogs. It doesn't have to be exactly that, but you want to practice enough so you can be like, okay, I've done this 5-6 times this week. When I get to the competition, I know how to start, like, continue creating the intricate details and then finish off strong. I know how I started from the start, middle, and end. You want to make sure you're practicing. Practice makes perfect. That's what they always say. Creativity. Brainstorm unique ideas for the canine's canvas. So again, we'll talk about creative groomers. When they get the theme of the contest that they're entering, let's say I'm just going to make up a theme. Let's say Marvel characters, right? So they got to research what Marvel character that they want to create on the dog. They have to make sure they, you know, draw up a sketch of how it's going to go, how it's going to look, do some prep work, do like a trial run on the dog, and then see if that is what they want to do. You know, like I don't know how long of a time they have in order to like figure out the kinks and like perfect what needs to be done, like, and then when they go to the competition they just do touch-ups, because I know they don't do that whole thing at, at the actual competition. That takes a lot of time to like sculpt and dye and scissor and all the things. Like that's a lot of work. But you got to make sure you brainstorm what it's going to look like, because you can't just do it on the fly and then you get there and you're like, uh I think I want to do Spider-Man. What? No, you doing Spider-Man or no? Figure it out. Styling tools. Gather high quality tools like clippers, scissors, and dies. You want to make sure that your tools are working properly, they're efficient, they're safe, they're sharp, they're working. Nothing more annoying and just stressful than getting to your destination, getting ready to start your dog, and your clippers don't work. Or your scissors got a dent in it, and every time you close your scissors, it stops because you dropped them. Make sure you have backup. Make sure you checked before you left. Make sure things are charged properly. All the things, because girl or guy, that's a hot mess when you get there and you just sitting there looking crazy. Okay, don't nobody want to walk around looking crazy. That's not a good look. Health and safety. Make sure you know the dog's well-being during the process. If the dog is overly panting or excessively panting or wanting to sit down a lot, maybe you nicked something in the paw, maybe you nicked something in the groin area. You have to keep an eye on the health and safety of your pet, because that's gonna affect your groom at the end, you know? Or you might not be able to groom the dog for the rest of the time being. You might have to stop mid groom. But you have to be aware of those things. You have to keep, you're still working with live animals, so you have to keep an eye on your pet while grooming. And keep an eye on yourself too. You don't want to like pass out because you've been dehydrated and you haven't been eating. That ain't no good look either. Take care of yourself and take care of the dog, y'all. And presentation. Practice showcasing the work confidently. Be proud of what you're doing. Know that you did that to the best of your ability and you would do it again and again and again and again. Be proud of your work. Presentation is key. It's everything. So yeah, just make sure you're doing that. And finally, I'm just going to talk about the judges and how they evaluate you based on like several criteria during the competition, right? They go off of technical skill, creativity and originality, color application, overall presentation, and attention to detail. Now, give you a disclaimer. All judges aren't created equal. They will have their own preferences, their own skill set. They'll be looking for certain things in particular for their own preference. But these 5 topics are general criteria based on their decisions. So, technical skills is precision in scissoring, clippering, oh my gosh, scissoring, clipping, and styling. They want to make sure that you are precise when you are grooming that dog, using your clippers. The scissor work has to be immaculate, and even like coming down to the sprays that you use after the fact. Like if you want to use freeze spray to keep the top knot like still and like it's really large, you want to keep it like standing up until it's time to be critiqued. You want to make sure you got that right spray that leaves it like stiff and hard and standing at attention, you know? It's all about the products you use and the tools you use. Symmetry and balance in the overall design. Like I said before, they want to make sure that everything is balanced, everything looks like the same on one side than the other. You don't want it to be an uneven skirt. You don't want anything sticking out, no dents in the legs, none of that. You want to make sure everything overall looks cohesive. And then clean lines and smooth transitions. I just said that. We don't want no dents. We don't want no little sticky outies. We want it to look smooth like butter, baby. You can't see nothing. You're looking up, you're looking down, you're looking to the right, to the left. It's, yeah, you just want to be on point with that. The creativity and originality, the uniqueness of the design, the innovative use of color patterns and accessories, and artistic flair and imagination. So basically, they're pretty much talking about creative grooming for the most part. So they want to see how original, how unique, how mesmerizing is your dog. Are you captivating the audience? Are you captivating the judges? Are they going to talk about that tomorrow? You gotta give them the wow factor. They want something to pop. They want vibrancy. They want like I said, uniqueness. They want something different, a little pizzazz or a lot of pizzazz, not just a little. They want that whole shebang, baby. So give them the shebang, okay? Color application. Even and well blended color, harmonious color choices that enhance the dog's appearance. You want that dog to show up and show out, baby. You need the vibrant colors. You need the intricate details of how the dog is going to look. You need to make sure it's even and blended well. Saturate that coat. You got to make sure it's precise. And attention to detail. Neatness of paw pads, ears, and tail. Fine details like facial expression and eye grooming. Yeah, you don't want the visor to still creep over the eyes so it can't really see unless that's the look you're going for. And that was the brief that was, given to you during the instructions of the competition. You want to make sure everything just looks cohesive. Like that's the word of this episode. Cohesion. Everything needs to work itself together. Make sure the paw pads is shaved all the way. You want to make sure that they're all shaved the same way. You don't want to do one foot a 30 blade and the other foot a 15 blade. It's going to look different. And the judges are going to be able to tell. Make sure you're doing it properly. um and yeah, just check your work too. Step back, zoom out, look at the dog in its entirety and make sure that everything looks even and cohesive. I can't stress that enough, y'all. Just do all of that. But yeah, that is what I have for you in terms of competition, competitive grooming, the levels of grooming, the styles of grooming, how to groom, what to do when you compete, who to talk to in order to enter a competition. If it's something that you think you would do, let me know in the comments. I'm interested in seeing who would compete. And if you would compete, where would you compete? Like, what grooming shows would you compete? Would you try model dogs? Would you rent a dog? Let me know your thoughts. And have you? Did you like it? I'm asking a lot of questions, but I I, I love this side of grooming. It's fun. It's not so serious. It can be for those who take it super duper serious. And I'm not mad at you because you win money. I forgot all about that. You can win money, y'all. Most of these people who've been grooming and doing the competitions for years, well, they get banked. I feel like that is their career. I don't even think they have to groom dogs like that anymore. They just go from expo to expo, competition to competition, and compete and win money. People win like tens of thousands of dollars, yo. Like, let me win one of these elite grooming competitions and y'all give me $10,000. I might quit House Call Grooming. I might quit my business. I just might. Or I'm gonna take so many less dogs just because I can make more money competing than I am individual dogs. You know what I'm saying? Like, that sounds like a no-brainer to me, but I'm not there yet. And I don't think I want to do that because I like grooming and like seeing how far I can go with my my skill set and my expertise, but I also like human interaction and connection. I'm not to say that I couldn't do that while grooming and like traveling for grooming competitions, but like I like having conversations with my clients. I like forming a bond with them and their dogs. It just and seeing them often knows like that shows me that they care and they want me to be there. So yeah, I mean, it has its pros and cons, but yeah, it's a fun type of grooming. It's entertaining, it's exciting, it gets the juices flowing, the creativity flowing, and the competitiveness flowing. I hope I said that right. Competitiveness. I need to enunciate properly. But it's late, so that's probably why I'm like slurring my words because I'm getting tired. So I want to ask you a favor. You know, I always ask y'all this after every episode. Please do me a favor and like this episode if you are watching. Please give it a thumbs up. That shows YouTube that I am on your radar. I am in the algorithm. I am going out to the other mixies who are searching for my content, thriving, needing my content because I need y'all to be my community. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do so. And if you have not followed me on the audio version of this podcast, please give me a follow and give me a 5-star review if you want to. I would appreciate it. That also lets me know that people need this content. Audio form, video form, all the forms. I need your assistance with that. And leave me a comment. Leave me, if you are watching, a pair of scissors at the end. I mean, in the comments if you've watched to the end, because now I know I'm like, oh, they watching, y'all. They watching. I saw some of y'all. The last episode I asked to put something in the comments. I think it was a bus. And I saw a bunch of people with buses. I was like, hey, my mixies is here. Let's go, let's go, let's go. I'm here for it. But yeah, if you made it to the end of this episode, please put a pair of scissors in the comments. I would appreciate that so much. If you have a story about competing, you were in a competition, or you would like to compete, please send me an email to mixedthoughtspodcast@papapoochspa.com. That is mixed thoughts with 2 X's podcast at, excuse me, at papapoochspa.com. The spit just got stuck in my throat. It was going to make me choke. But anyway, yeah, I want to know if you have any stories about it. If you have any questions that you want to ask me, also email me at that email. And in the subject line, put Mixie Stories or Mixie Questions so I know who is sending me an email. And then I can get to you and I will answer it and or read it the next episode. If you want to be held anonymous, what? If you want to be anonymous, just let me know in the email and I will make sure not to say your name. All right? Thank you so much for watching this episode or listening to this episode, and I will talk to you in the next one. Bye.